Hey guys, what's up? It's Jay, back up with another build of the day video. This time around I got a nice little moon habitat. Really this was just kind of to mess around with the robotic stuff and really get used to them. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, in terms of like building a good standalone habitat module you can just drop on a planet and store crew and whatever. But the problem I've always had was with the landing gear for, well, the game landing gears are just so unstable. So I said, screw it, let's build some of our own, and it kind of went downhill from there. So we threw on a whole bunch of robotics. We've got obviously the main landing legs here. They're robotic and all that, and they adjust to the ground, etc. I've also got a small docking port that I bound to the, I believe, up and down translation access in the controls there with incremental, and then on top we have a Skycrane, of course. I did a lot of testing on the launchpad, and unfortunately I lost the footage because Streamlabs crashed while I was recording and I wasn't using the correct type of file. So much wasted time. Well, not really wasted, I was still building a bit, but yeah, it was annoying. So the Skycrane actually works really well. I was very skeptical at first, but as you'll see later in the video, it actually works decently. Part of the whole idea behind building it the way it is that it was to reduce the footprint to a smaller size, and the only reason I went with the 3.75 meter fairing as opposed to the 2.5, which you can actually fit this in fairly comfortably on top of a 2.5 meter stack. Basically, the only reason I went with it was just so that I could run those struts to the top of the fuel tanks there that fold down, as you're going to see in a few minutes here when I go for my landing. Yeah, so it's actually all the testing I did drop testing and that to figure out kind of tolerances on in terms of that on the landing gear, and it was okay, but it wasn't great. So I added the heat shields. They just seem to have a really good impact tolerance, so they're nice. And then the actual, as you can see there, basically how this works, and I don't know if I showed it off earlier in the video, is after it decouples from that main second stage, you're then able to, not retract, deploy the outside part, which also act as temporary landing gear, so it'll land, it has a nice wide base, and then you're able to drop the habitation module from a fairly safe distance, and then just launch the Skycrane off into orbit. But yeah, so I'm basically just going for a straight encounter for the surface. I went and overburned so I'd make sure I'd land on the sun side, you know, just because why not, make things easy. So in terms of other features here, so like I said, it's got all the robotic stuff. It's got the crane. It's got the docking port, which I think tomorrow I'm going to do a rover for this that'll be able to dock. I might get a little fancy with that one as well in terms of robotics. Robotics are really scary to deal with. As you can see, I strutted them. Now, if you strut robotic parts and then you move the robotics, the struts don't actually stretch and move with it. They just stay attached to the original point. I think you kind of saw that earlier in the video when I was testing them. I did run into a bug while building this, and I don't know what exactly causes it, but while I was doing early testing, all the animation curves for all the robotics got deleted for some reason. And so kind of what I did to fix that was I removed all the controllers and re-added them. So as a kind of a piece of advice, if you're dealing with robotics, your best bet is to, set up your minimum and maximum and do all your test fits, but don't actually program the animations until the end, and then you add the controllers at the end and do all the animations here. And yeah, and it was weird because it would be I'd load into the scene for launching to test to make sure things were working under gravity, etc., physics, all that. and then the animation curves would not be there. It wouldn't want to play. You'd open up the editor and they'd be empty, and you'd jump back into the vehicle assembly building and they'd be gone. And if you tried to reload the file, they wouldn't appear. So I don't know what causes that. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to see if anybody else has that problem, if there's any other any fixes for it. But yeah, and boom, right there we have touchdown, and we dropped the thing, and look at that. Now, yeah. The only reason that's stuttering, like I said, that's on the axis, and I was just messing around with it to see how it goes. But, like, in theory, you can run a rover of multiple different heights, and it should be able to connect. I also want to see if, like, maybe make, like, a pipeline thing or whatever, or a connector for a larger base, who knows. Yeah, so unfortunately, I forgot to add a probe core to the Skycrane, and I didn't want to just go to the Space Center and jump back until the thing ran out of fuel, and I couldn't switch back, and the dumb mistake, but all I had to do was wait for it to run out of fuel, and then I could switch back to the map screen. But yeah, also, of course, being that this is breaking ground, we brought our ground-based science equipment. Planter flag, you know. Oh yeah, we got the new suits as well. It's the first time I'm checking these out. They're cool emissive strips on them. I love the look. It's neat. But yeah, so like functionally all this is just a ground-based type thing. Like you could probably throw some science on there. The original plan was to use the space tug and push it. That's why there's a docking port on the bottom, but when I ran into the issue with the floppy Skycrane stuff while in testing, I said, you know what, I'll just put it on a base plate and strut that. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You know, I'm just going through the motions here, setting all the science stuff up. I will get to posting the other files for the previous days, as well as this soon. And yeah, make sure to subscribe and like and all that if you want to see more of these. And don't forget to check me out on Twitch. I mainly play sim games. I'm mostly been streaming in the evenings, EST. And yeah, so thank you very much and have a great day.